Shalom, shalom. All praise to the Most High. Thankful for another opportunity to go ahead and get edified in the spirit. So the title of this lesson is going to be Persecution is Coming, right? It's persecution all throughout the scripture, and we're going to get some of the accounts how the righteous were persecuted for, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments in the faith, believing on Yahweh, right? So we're going to get some of the accounts, and that persecution, we have to be ready for that, in these days as well, because nothing under the sun is new, man, and we're going to get it. Let's start right here, Psalms 90, chapter 94, verse 16.
All right. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 94 and verse 16, and it reads, "Who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?"
So we're going to do it, right? Choose me, Lord. We all going to stand up against the evildoers, right? And that persecution could come from standing up against the evildoers, right? This world is full of evil. Job 9:24 says the world is given into the hand of the wicked. So the wicked is running this world, man. So if if you righteous, the world is not going to be for you, right? So we got to stand up against the unrighteous, the workers of iniquity, right? Let's get another classic. Sirach chapter 2, verse 1.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 1. "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation."
So temptation is going to come on this walk when you prepare your heart, your soul, your mind to serve the Most High, man, right? Verse 2.
Verse 2, "Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble."
Man, it's a classic, man. One of my favorite scriptures in the book, and it's really one of brothers and sisters' favorite scriptures, throughout the nation, man. But we got to set our heart aright and constantly endure. We can't move too fast or too slow when we being chastening of the Lord, when we in trouble, right? Verse 3.
Verse 3, "Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end."
Say what we got to do out, read it again.
"Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end."
So we got to cleave unto him, man, right? We got to cleave unto him and depart not away, meaning don't be tossed to and fro, away from the Most High, man. We got to cleave unto him so that we can be increased at the last end, so we can be given that crown on our head, man. Good job, good and faithful servant, right? Verse 4.
Verse 4, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate."
So we got to be patient, man. We got to be patient and know the Lord dealing with us, man. We got to be patient through our persecution. We got to find joy in being persecuted. That's what the prophets did, man. That's what the disciples did. That's what the apostles did, man. They found joy in persecution because they knew that they were being persecuted for the Lord, man, right? Verse 5.
Verse 5, "For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity."
So we're going to be tried in the fire, man, such as gold, man. So we can be made, whole in the last end, man, right? So we got to go through some adversity for this truth. We got to go through some persecution for this truth. We're going to be tried for this truth, right? Second Peter, matter of fact, this should be 2 Peter. Let me see. Let me make sure. Chapter 5. Let me get 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 5, verse 6. I think that's what I'm looking for. Give me just a second. First, chapter 5. All right, cool. This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5, verse 6.
Good. The book of 1 Peter, chapter 5 and verse 6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of the Most High, that he might exalt you in due time.
Read verse 7.
Verse 7. Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you.
For he cared for you, man. You know, so the Most High, he cared different. You know, he may take you through some things to prove, to prove yourself to him, man. So the Most High chose us for this walk, man, right? You know, so we're going to be ridiculed. We're going to be hated. What else? We're going to be scoffed. We're going to be laughed at. We're going to be talked about. And we can go on and on, man. So the Most High saw fit for us, for him to try us, man. He chose us. So we got to bear our cross, right? And if we're going to walk in Yahweh, then we must be prepared to be persecuted for Christ, as well. Just like he was persecuted, right? So we're going to get into it. Let's get the definition of persecution. Let's start right there. You can just read to the end of beliefs.
Persecution, hostility, and ill treatment, especially because of race or political or religious beliefs.
So hostility or ill treatment, right? Let's look at some of these synonyms. Oppression, victimization, ill treatment, mistreatment, abuse, discrimination, punishment, torment, torture, right? Harassment, bullying. So, man, these are some of the things that our people, as you go through the text, that our people went through, man, right? And we have to do the same thing for, in today's time as well, if we choose to follow Christ, man. Persecution will come. He prophesied about it. But we're going to get there. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9.
The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. The things that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun.
So there is no new thing under the sun, right? Again, the true believers were persecuted for believing in Yahweh. And this is in the so-called New Testament as well, man, right? I never heard, my pastor out at church bringing out that you will be persecuted for walking in Christ, man. I never heard that, right? Read verse 10 for me.
Verse 10. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new. It have been already of old time, which was before.
Go ahead, my bad. I'll slap.
Verse 10. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new. It have been already of old time, which was before us.
Which was before us, man, right? So persecution has happened before us, before time, and it will happen with us as well, man. If Lord willing, when things really hit the fan, huh? Right? So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna dive into it, man. To see about it, man. Let's get out some, what Christ was prophesying, telling the disciples. Read that Matthew chapter 5 and verse 10.
The book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
So you have to be persecuted to get the kingdom of heaven, man. For righteousness' sake. Blessed. Christ said, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Verse 11.
Verse 11. Blessed are ye, which men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
So this how you know you in the truth, man. You're not getting persecuted in Christianity, man. I'm telling you that right now. Everybody love you, man. Everybody love you Don't nobody have a problem with what you're doing. You can be in sin, bearing all your iniquities, and nobody has a problem with it, man. Matter of fact, they're gonna encourage you to do it. They're gonna celebrate you doing it. But blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, right? So, just thinking about it, man, it's persecution on a small level and on a high level, right? So this is another sign, man. We're gonna continue to talk about it. This is a sign that you're really in the faith, man. Right? You're gonna have to suffer persecution for the kingdom. Right? Read verse 12.
Verse 12, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
Read that last part again.
For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
The prophets were persecuted for righteousness' sake, man. And the Most High got his reasoning for doing everything, man, for the kingdom's sake, right? For a sign unto our people, right? So this is not Christianity, man. This is not love, prosperity, and hugs. But Christ said you should rejoice when you see these things start to happen, right? One, it is a sign that the end is near. And also, you're a true disciple and believer, man. So we got to keep our mind on the kingdom when these things start to happen, right? Got to continue to meditate on the scriptures and know where our help comes from. And know that even through our persecution, the Most High is not going to leave nor forsake us, man. So the Spirit was on the apostles and the disciples. And as you read throughout the scripture, you're going to see that even the prophets, they rejoiced when persecution came. Right? So we're going to get some accounts, man, right? Let's get Jeremiah chapter 28 and verse 8.
This book of Jeremiah, chapter 28 and verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great nations, of war and of evil and of pestilence.
So the prophets was out prophesying against many great kingdoms. They wasn't scared. They was out there teaching boldly in front of the nations, man, to their people, telling them to repent, telling them to come out of idolatry, right? They were teaching bold. And they were not met with kisses, hugs, flowers, and gifts, man. They hated to hear the prophet speak, man. And as we read in Matthew chapter 5, they killed the prophets for this, man. Because they was exposing the sin of our people, man. The iniquities of our people. They were warning them of wars, of captivity, of pestilences. Right? So they put their lives on they put their lives on the line for the Most High and spoke against these things, man. Right? Amos chapter 5 and verse 10.
It's the book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse 10. They hate him that rebuke in the gate, Slakin. They hate them that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly.
They hate them that correct our people, man. They hate them that correct our people. Me and my kinfolk was talking about that earlier. We was just talking about just some wicked stuff that was going on Facebook, and our people just out here encouraging. You know what I'm saying? And he went on to say, if they hear us talking about it right now, they're gonna say that we judging. Well, we are judging, man. We rebuking it, right? We speaking against it. Somebody got to stand for righteousness, man. And that's how you know that you in the faith, man, when they start to hate you for correction, man. I was just thinking about it earlier after we talked. Our people don't have no moral code, man. Like we done lost our way as far as morality. Like anything is going on is celebrated now, man. It's disgusting and it's just wicked, man. We are disgusting people, man. But they hate them, they hate real love and to speak uprightly. Right? Another example, you expose the lies that people have grown comfortable in, such as the white man being the devil. We hear that a lot within our nation, so-called white man. The white elites are oppressing you. You try to bring out the truth. America is wicked and will be burned. They doggone want to put you to death, huh? Because they love the white man in America, and they hate, for you to talk about their God. But let's keep going, man. Let's get more. Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 10.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 30 and verse 10, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. So
the seers are the prophets. You know what I'm saying? The brother brought that out many times in many lessons, man, right? See not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Prophesy not unto us the law, statutes, and commandments. Speak prosperity. That's what this going into. That's what you hear every Sunday at church. Prophesy not unto us right things, because our people don't want to hear right things. We want to hear smooth lies. 1 to 2 scriptures, and then go on a rant about something that doesn't matter, instead of rebuking at the gate and correcting your people, right? So another thing about this verse as well, in these last days, the heathen, they will start to get mad as well, and be on this same type of energy. They're not gonna want to hear the prophets prophesying against this great kingdom. Not the prophets, but the brothers prophesying against great kingdom. Telling them about the judgment for America, right? So they're not gonna want to hear that. So they gonna have a problem with us exposing and waking our people up to oppression, slavery, this broken system, white supremacy. They're gonna have a problem with that, man, because we're gonna get into this later on. They are scared of our people waking up and being in our right mind. That's one thing that the so-called white man fears in these other nations, these heathens. They are scared of our people not being in foolishness no more, man. Right? This is what our people got right here, man. We're about to get into it. This, I know most of us, we done heard of this, but for those that haven't, we're gonna bring it out, man. They have Stockholm syndrome. Basically because the white man is they God, man. And it's sad because, I know others got family that have this syndrome, but I can just speak on mine. And I know, man, like it's sad because they can't fear life without the white man. And it's a sad thing. But let's read this real quick, bro. Stockholm syndrome.
The Stockholm syndrome appears when an abused victim develops a kind of respect and empathy toward their abuser.
So it develops when they develop a respect, or they feel sorrowful or empathize for their abuser, right? For their oppressor. Go ahead.
It was named after a bank robbery in Stockholm when a group of bank employees were held hostage and developed a strong sense of empathy toward their captors.
This is our people, man, because we done forgot, man. We done forgot the atrocities. So now we empathize for, these heathens that are over us, man. Keep reading.
When this traumatic event was over, they even defended their captors by not wanting to say anything that might endanger their captors' freedom.
So they didn't want justice to be served, man. They empathized for them, man, right? Keep reading.
This usually happens because the victim sees the smallest act of dissent,
Decent.
just like a decent behavior, as an extracted event, which makes them see their captors as essentially good.
So this is your stimulus checks, man. A gift destroyed the heart, man. That's what the scripture said. This is MLK Boulevard. This is your Martin Luther King Day, man. That's what this is. These small gifts that distract you from the atrocities and things like that, the white supremacy, the oppression that is on our people to this day, man. These small gifts get us sidetracked from recognizing who the dang on enemy is, man. Keep reading.
This way, they leave aside all the negative behavioral distinctions of their captors and focus on the positive ones.
So we're gonna focus on, well, they did free us, and they did give us welfare, and did give us a few stimulus checks. But what's the whole reason that we had to be on welfare? So we forget all the negative behavior and focus on the so-called positive, man. Right? Keep reading.
This syndrome is called traumatic bonding or victim brainwashing.
Or victim brainwashing, man. So a lot of our people suffer from this illness, man. This is an illness, a mental illness, man. Right? They don't understand what's going on and they empathize for their oppressor. You get to talking about the so-called white man, and we've all had this happen, man. Jake or Eve will come to war and want to almost put hands on you for bringing something up that's true.
Yep.
A lot.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you done pull this for the lesson,
Right.
And stop me if you do. But let me get the book of First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11.
The book of First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
See, this is something that our people are very, very good at, being wicked. And we're always trying to join with the so-called white man. We're always trying to join with the other nations to do everything that they are doing. Think about every time when we had our own stuff. Think about Black Wall Street. We had everything going for our own selves. But we saw that guy got killed off quick. And our people continue to be with the people that put us in the bad situation that we're already in. We have no shame as a people, and we got to change that.
Con. Excellent precept, Bob. Excellent precept. Now let's follow up with this right here. Let's follow up with Ecclesiastes, a classic. We kind of already brought this out, but we might as well get it. Let's bring out Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7.
The book of Sirach, chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
And a gift destroyeth your mind, man. So we get, again, as we was reading with the definition of Stockholm Syndrome, we get sidetracked by these small gifts, these small promises, these small lies, it made me think of, I don't know why I thought of this, but it just made me think of Joe Biden during his president race. His whole thing was, we're gonna take away the student loans, and our people was getting all, all up in the, all happy and overjoicing, rejoicing, and he became president and he changed his mind, man, because, it's in their nature, they're deceivers, man. They are liars. They'll do anything to win. Go ahead.
And it also comes from the same man that qualified your quote unquote blackness by if you voted for him or not.
Yeah, man. He said that. Look it up if you don't believe it. We have no reason to lie, but he said that you're not black if you don't vote for me, man. This heathen said that, man. He don't know the first thing about being so-called black. So how he gonna tell you not black? But that's the devil, man, and our people love him. Let's get back to the lesson. Amos chapter 7 and verse 10.
The book of Amos, chapter 7 and verse 10, and it reads, Then Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, sent to Jeroboam, king of Israel, saying, Amos hath conspired against thee in the midst of the house of Israel. The land is not able to bear all his words.
Why? Because Amos was exposing the wickedness that was going on in the land, man. The land was not, they were not able to bear his words, man. He was going in, man, through the Spirit. He was exposing the sins and iniquities of our people, man. Right? Read on.
Verse 11, For thus Amos saith, Jeroboam shall die by the sword, and Israel shall surely be led away captive out of their own land.
Man, he was saying what? Read it again.
For thus Amos saith, Jeroboam shall die by the sword, and Israel shall surely be led away captive out of their own land.
Our people didn't want to hear that, man. They ain't want to hear that. They didn't want to hear the words of prophecy, man. The land was not able to bear his words. So just like today, they can't handle the words of God, man. That's why folks don't read, man. Folks really be acting like they be read, but they just be acting, man. I'm honest with myself. Before this truth, I was not opening my Bible. I just wasn't, man. I was not opening the Bible. That was the last thing on my mind to do. Right? So he was prophesying what had to happen because of our iniquities, man. Right? So read verse 12.
Verse 12. Also Amaziah said unto Amos, O thy seer, go, flee thee away into the land of Judah, and there eat bread and prophesy there.
Man, they was sending him on, man. Get on, man. We ain't trying to hear what it is you talking about. Go back to the southern kingdom and you speak to them about that. We not trying to hear that. So that's our people today, man. You get to opening the Bible and bringing out the scripture, bringing out the words of life, they gonna change the subject, man. They don't want to hear that. Go, flee. They looking at the clock almost to see when you leaving. Right? So this is nothing new, man. This is nothing new. Let's get this account right here with Elijah and Obadiah and wicked Ahab. 1 Kings chapter 18. Let's see. All right. Let's start at verse 1 through 3.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 18, and verse 1. And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go, show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon thee.
So what was upon the earth? So what was happening is that we finna read it right here. We finna read it. Read verse 2.
Verse 2, and Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab. And there was a sore famine in Samaria.
Verse 3.
And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly.
So Obadiah feared the Lord, man. He was walking in the commandments of God, man, right? So I'm going to summarize what's going on right here. Jezebel was wicked, man. She was King Ahab's wife, right? And she was killing the prophets, man. So what happened was Obadiah was taking the prophets and hiding them, right? Feeding them bread and water and everything so they can escape the persecution that the king's wicked wife, which was a heathen, was trying to persecute them, man. They was trying to persecute them for bringing out the truth, man, right? So Ahab went on a journey to meet Elijah. He went on a journey and Elijah actually appeared before him, man. This was going on right here. He fell on his face. Art that my Lord Elijah? Read verse 8.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 18 and verse 8. And he answered him, I am. Go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here.
He said, it is me, man, right? Behold, go tell the Lord, your Lord, King Ahab, that here I am. You've been looking for me. Here I am, right? So what's going on right here? Let's get it. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And he said, what have I sinned, that thou wouldest deliver thy servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me?
So Obadiah, like, man, no. I don't know about that. You know, he was really questioning what Elijah was saying, because what was going on is that they had been looking for Elijah, and he, you know, people were saying he was in different places, but soon as they got there looking for him, he wasn't there anymore. Right? So this is what he's saying right here. Read verse 10.
Verse 10, as the Lord thy God liveth, there is no nation or kingdom, whether my Lord have not sent to seek thee. And when they said, he is not there, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation that they found thee not. Right.
So they knew. So Obadiah knew if he went and told the king where Elijah was at, you know what I'm saying, and he wasn't there, the king was going to put him to death, man. Right. And that's what he was saying right here in verse 12. You know, but he was like, you know, of course, Obadiah feared the Lord, man. Right. So let's read down. Let's get a little of that. We're gonna read through it real quick, man. Let's start at verse 13.
Verse 13. Was it not told, my Lord, what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Lord? How I hid 100 men of the Lord's prophets by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water.
Right. So this is what we was talking about in the beginning. So Obadiah was questioning Elijah, like, hey, you know, was it not told, you know, did the Lord not see my works? You know, I was hiding the prophets, you know, from getting slew, from getting killed by Jezebel, the king's wicked wife, man. You know, and I was feeding them bread and water. Read on.
Verse 14. And now thou sayest, go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me.
So if I go tell the king that Elijah is here and you not be here, he's gonna kill me. Read on.
Verse 15. And Elijah said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today.
So Elijah will let him know, I'm gonna show myself. You know, rest assured, this on everything, I'm gonna show myself to your king, to the king, King Ahab, right? And notice how the prophets, we didn't really harp on that earlier, but the prophets was, you know, getting killed, man. They were being slew, man. They wanted to kill the prophets, right? Read on.
Verse 16. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah.
Read on.
And it came to pass when Ahab saw Elijah that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel?
Art thou he that troubleth Israel? Is it you that's teaching the law, statutes, and commandments to the people? Right? That's what he asked him. Art thou he that troubleth Israel? Read on.
Verse 18, and he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, and that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and thou hast followed Balaam.
Come, Balaam. So, man, Elijah told him straight up, nah, it's you that have been troubling Israel, teaching and worshiping these false gods. You have forsaken the commandments of God and followed the commandments of men, right? So Elijah stood boldly before the king and told him that. Let's skip down to verse 40. I think that's what I want. Yeah, let's read verse 40.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 18 and verse 40. And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took him, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there.
That's the power that the Most High had given Elijah, right? And slew the prophets of Baal, which are no prophets, man, which prophesy lies. You know, but I just wanted to get, man, it's a good read. We couldn't get it all for lack of time, you know, but let's read chapter 19. Let's get a little bit of that, and we're gonna move on. Start at verse 1.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 19 and verse 1. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword.
Right, so Ahab, the king, he going back and, Elijah done slew all the prophets, like she gonna do something, going back to his wicked woman, telling them about how Elijah had slain all the prophets, which are no prophets, with the sword that was prophesying lies. Read on.
Verse 2, then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time.
So Jezebel sent a message to Elijah, basically letting them know, I'm gonna see about you real soon. In a nutshell, that's what she was telling them. Read verse 3.
Verse 3, and when he saw that, he arose and went for his life, and came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there.
So the spirit was dealing with so the spirit was dealing with Elijah, man, and he fled, right? But this all a good read, man. If we ain't got time to go through it all right now, but I recommend brothers and sisters go through that. Let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1. And let's start at verse 56.
The book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 56. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. Right,
man. So again, for this truth, you may have to face persecution, man. So let's find out what was going on with our forefathers and foremothers in the times of the Greeks. So what's happening right here? They was burning the scriptures up, man. That's exactly what was going on. They was burning the Bibles with fire. Read on.
Verse 57. And whosoever was found with any, the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
Right. So whoever had the scriptures and was consenting to the law, statutes, and commandments, it was commanded that they should be put to death. Right. Read on.
Verse 58. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities.
So they was putting our forefathers and our foremothers to death, man, for consenting to the Bible, man. You know, for keeping their customs, for keeping their traditions. And this was under the so-called Grecians, man, right? This was under the Greeks, right? So they were doing this every month to as many as were found in the city. Read on.
Verse 59. Now the 20th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of the Most High.
So they did wicked sacrifices upon the idol altar, man, right? Which was upon the altar of the Most High, man. So they was, man, we about to get it right here. Read verse 60.
Verse 60. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised.
So it's not just that the men were being put to death, the women were being put to death, man, as we can see right here. They were putting the women to death that kept the law and that was circumcising the children, man. So, you know, we got to continue to stay in the spirit, man. This ain't just for the men, this for the women as well, man. You know, the women are going to face persecution, right? Read verse 61.
Verse 61. And they hanged the infants about their necks and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them.
So even they hanged the infants, man, the children, man. The Greeks was ruthless, man, right? They slew them that had circumcised them, the women and the children, right? Verse 62.
Verse 62. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing.
So they was like, nah, we ain't eating no unclean thing, man. You know what I'm saying? We ain't doing it. We don't care what's going on, right? We ain't gonna do it. We not eating swine flesh. We're not eating any abominations. We're not eating the bottom feeders, man, right? Verse 63.
Verse 63. Wherefore they chose rather to die than that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died.
So then they died, man, right? So they were put to death for keeping their customs, right? They were persecuted for keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, man. For having the Bible, they were killed, man. So this is why we have to make sure we in this type of spirit, man, and being on this same type of energy that our forefathers was on, right? You know, we got to evaluate, are we really about this truth, man? And prepared for what it comes with, right? Like I commend brothers that stand boldly, you know, and keep the law, statutes, and commandments and teach the law, statutes, and commandments. You know, I commend brothers because it's tough. You know, and if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Read verse 64.
Verse 64. And there was very great wrath upon Israel.
And there was great wrath upon Israel, man. Right? So I commend brothers, man. We gotta, and sisters, we gotta keep pushing in this thing, man. You know, the brothers that go out and put their lives in jeopardy for this thing, I commend it. You know, because man, shoot, persecution coming, man. Right? That's the title of the lesson. Persecution is coming, and the people that were doing this are the Edomites, man, the so-called white man. Right? So even myself, man, included, a lot of people think that they really in this thing, but when perilous times like this come, they gonna fold, man. Right? And I pray I'm not one of them. I pray brothers and sisters on this on here right now that's listening, not one of them. Right? Go ahead.
And just add on to the point here. Grab first on Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 10.
2 and 10.
Uh-huh.
I'm about to get chapter 2, but you can bring this out though.
Book of First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 10. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
So also, just don't think is the so-called white man doing it. It's all of these nations. If it isn't Israel, that is your enemy.
That's right. Come on. So let's get a little. It's a lot of good stuff here in First Maccabees chapter 2. Let's get let me see. Yeah, let's get this right here. Verse 32.
Book of First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 32. They pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day.
So they made war against them on the Sabbath day. Why? Because the Sabbath day is a day of rest for our people. Our people are taking it off, resting, man, reading, meditating. They're not working. They not out and about, doing the things that they would be doing on the other day. They was keeping it holy. So the enemy knew that this would be the best time for us to come against these people, man, on their day of rest. Read on.
Verse 33, and they said unto them, let that which you have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and you shall live.
So they told the Israelites, hey, forget what you're doing right now on the Sabbath day. You need to come forth and do what the king tell you to do. And we're going to spare your life. Right? Read verse 34.
Verse 34. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the thing. Neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day.
So we're not going to profane the Sabbath day. Do as you will. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you got to do, just do it. We fear the Lord, man, more than we fear what you can do to us. That's the spirit we got to be moving in, man. Right? That's the spirit that we got to be moving in. They wasn't scared of the persecution that was coming to them, because they were standing for the commandments of God, man. Right? So I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna keep it real, man. The Greeks hated our forefathers and foremothers for keeping the Sabbath, as we can see right here, man. And so does the so-called American heathens today, man. They hate that we're coming together in unison to keep the Sabbath day holy, man. Right? They hate that, man. They hate that. Read verse 35.
Verse 35. So then they gave them the battle with all speed.
So they brought the smoke to them, man. That's what happened. The Greeks brought the smoke to our people because they didn't want to follow the commandments of the king. Keep reading.
Verse 36. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid.
So our people didn't even move. They was coming against them with war tactics, and our people was like, hey, we're not gonna even pick up a stone. We're gonna keep the commandments. We're gonna keep the Sabbath day, and that's what we on. Read on.
Verse 37. But said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that you put us to death wrongfully.
So they said, let us die being innocent, man. We didn't do nothing wrong. We just keeping the commandment. And heaven and earth, the Most High is going to testify for us, man, that you put us to death wrongfully. Right? Let's read this last verse, verse 38.
Verse 38. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath day, and they slew them with their wives and children, and their cattle, to the number of 1,000 people.
Read that again. They slew them.
So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath day, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle, to the number of 1,000 people.
With their wives and children. So again, it's not just the men. The wives and the children, got to be ready for persecution as well. Read on, man. No, we're going to stop right there. But y'all should read this if y'all haven't. I know most brothers and sisters have. But Mattathias, he was not playing no games. But let's get chapter 2. Let's get 2nd Maccabees. I think I got 2nd Maccabees up, which we may have to do a part 2 to this. I had a lot, man, in here that I was looking at. Let's start right here, verse 1.
The book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 6, and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of the Most High.
Right. So they didn't want us living after the laws of our fathers, of our forefathers, man. Right? Same thing today. And not to live after the laws of God, man. And this even with our people, you don't need to be keeping the laws of God, the laws of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Mosaic law, But then what they don't understand is that Christ was keeping the same laws as well, man. He was keeping the commandments, but they get jammed up, on that. Read verse 6.
Verse 6, neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
So it wasn't lawful, meaning they had laws against the Sabbath day, against the Passover, against the feast, right? Or to profess yourself to be an Israelite. These times are coming, man. These times are coming, man. They already got us on all type of watch lists, hate group lists for teaching the Bible, man. So perilous times are coming, man. Read verse 7.
Verse 7, and in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the fast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy.
So in the day of the king's birth, every month they were bought against their will. That's what it means, bitter constraint, to eat of the sacrifices, man. Right? So we were brought against our will and compelled to sin. Read verse 8.
Verse 8, moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices.
So the Jews, the Israelites, were told that you better keep these same customs, or we're going to have some problems, man. We're going to have some problems, man. Just think about it today, man. It's a problem when you don't keep Easter, man. But it's with your own people. The heathen really ain't tripping with it, about it right now. But your own people have a problem with you not keeping Christmas with Easter. And this is not comparable to what's going on right here. But shoot, it will be. It will be soon. I ain't saying how soon because I don't, we don't know the time of the day. I mean, we're looking at the prophecies and the things like that throughout the scripture, but it's getting close, right? Read verse 9.
Verse 9, And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery.
So if you don't want to keep these fashions, these customs, these traditions, as the suggestion by Ptolemy, you was gonna be killed, man. You was gonna be killed. Let's read how they were doing to women. Verse 10.
Verse 10, for there were 2 women brought who had circumcised their children, whom they had openly led round about the city. The babes handling their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall.
Man, it was women breastfeeding, right? Who had circumcised their children, and they threw them over the wall. There's no telling how long of a fall there was, man, but they were dead. They killed them, man. They killed these 2 women for keeping the commandments of circumcision, right? That were breastfeeding. Read on.
Verse 11, and others that had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered by Philip, were all burnt together, because they had made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day.
So the Israelites was secretly going to keep the Sabbath day, man. They was trying to keep the commandments in secret because they knew what was going on. But they got caught up, man. They got jammed up and doggone were burnt up, man. They done burnt the caves up. All our people was trying to do is keep the Sabbath day, man. Shoot, man. We got to be ready for these type of times, man. We got to be ready for persecution. We got to be ready for it, man. Right? Read verse 12.
Verse 12, now I beseech those that read this book, that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation.
But for a chastening of our nation. So this is not to discourage you from standing in the truth and walking in the ways of the Most High, walking in the ways of Yahweh, right? But this is not going to be for our destruction, but it's going to be for the chastening of our people, man. Right? The Most High chastened who we love. Right? So we're going to wrap it up. We can probably do a part 2. You know what I'm saying? Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 23.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 23. And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you.
So we're gonna have to do all this for the gospel's sake, man. Right? Read on.
Verse 24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that ye may obtain.
So we got to run the race, man. We got to run the race. We got to run our race. You know, we got to bear our cross, right? But persecution is coming, man. We had more scriptures. We was finna get into John the Baptist. We was finna get into Yahweh the righteous, you know, but our time, has come, and we'll just have to do a part 2. But I yield.
All right. Any brothers got anything else before I stop it?
Shalom, brother. This is Mike.
Shalom.
So I was just saying it's a good word, man. We know we talk about everybody, man, especially the black man. Got a load on my back.
You bring something out on the lesson out, or you want me to keep recording?
No, you close it up.
All right.